as usual, to get us excited. No pyro, no show intro, just people walking. So we got Fatal Influence walking into the building in Jacksonville. Then we go straight to a funeral for the Gingerbread Man. And it's crazy how the Gingerbread Man gets more care than the entire roster. It's crazy. Like, the Gingerbread Man's booking has gotten more creative care than WrestleMania season this year. That's kind of crazy. This Gingerbread Man got more creative care than all three of Cody Rhodes' WWE Championship reigns since he's been back. So then after that funeral, we go to the Usos and Jacob Fatu. Since I guess Roman Reigns just, doesn't work Fridays or whatever. But the thing is, if you didn't know that Jacob and Roman, was happening and they had a feud going on, a rivalry going on, then you would think that it's Jacob Fatu versus one of the Usos at Backlash, which is not a good thing. This is the go-home show to Backlash, and Champ's not on the show to build the story even more. It's kind of crazy. So then, after that, we go backstage to get Matthew Cardona, who has lost 8 matches and has only won 1 since he's gotten back, versus Ricky Starks. Yeah, that whole Saints thing is not. Yeah, it's not it. But yeah, anyways, Ricky Starks, Sticky Rarks, as I've been calling for a couple of years now, Sticky Rarks. Just have a match out of thin air. Now, because he was brought up to he was brought up without a creative plan. Usually Vince, he would bring people up with a creative plan, even if the plan was bad and led to them being fired years later. He still had a plan for them. Usually Triple H will have somebody being brought up to the main roster, and his only plan is, all right, go out there and have a match. Go out there and have an exhibition. Go out there and have a match. Go out there and have an exhibition. Go out there and cut a promo. Go out there and have an exhibition. No, and then they won't get a story until like a year or almost a year down the line. So we pretty much had Ricky being brought up for no reason because he didn't have a story. He still doesn't have a story. With Cody Rhodes, they could have built off that, but then they decided to have Gunther versus Cody, but they were going to originally have LA Knight versus Gunther or a feud with them. So it's just all over the place. I think Triple H and his AI is kind of malfunctioning, because if you already know that Cody and Ricky have a history and you built on that for 1 week, why the hell would you have Gunther in the mix when he was a Raw star at the time? Now, of course, he's a SmackDown star now, but he was going to have something with LA Knight, and now LA Knight doesn't have something. Why didn't they just let? I don't know. I just think the AI doesn't know what to do, but neither does this, chief of content. So that's apparent. But yeah, we get another segment of. We get the same repeat segment, like the AI just says, hey, let's have Jacob and Will talk again. So we'll have Will Hobbs and Jacob talk again backstage. Okay, and then we have Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James but this is just to get to a turning point between Kiana James and Julia. And the only problem is this would only work. This would only get the crowd invested in someone turning on someone if they were booked to be cared about by the audience. But since nobody cares about these two, it's kind of hard. It's going to be hard to pull the story off, because they've done everything in their power to take away what made Julia special. They stripped away completely, took away her identity, all that stuff. So she's just, nobody cares about her as far as in the arenas. She gets crickets. And Kiana James, she didn't get much of an opportunity. Even before she got injured in 2024, she only had like 1 or 2 matches on Raw. And then she was apparently going to have a love angle with Adam Pearce. So she didn't get a chance, and she still hasn't really gotten an opportunity. So I don't know, this story between, who's going to turn heel, who's going to turn face, it won't matter. No one's going to care when it happens. And even if they do get the audience to care, they'll somehow not have a follow-up, because they usually don't. So then we get another segment with Will Hobbs talking to Solo Sikoa. No one cares. And then we go to the funeral with R-Truth trying to hand Sami Zayn a rose. Okay. And then we get Rhea Ripley and Charlie Flair and Alexa Bliss saying some words. And then we go backstage. All of it, like legit just filler. Just people saying words backstage. And R-Truth and Damian Priest and talking, saying some words. And then we get Hikuleu versus Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest. And then Damian Priest flies like a bat. You know, he's trying to be the Undertaker, Ministry of Darkness so badly, but it still doesn't work. And then we get Damian Priest losing, and then Will Hobbs coming out with no reaction because nobody cares about Will Hobbs in WWE because they just his only purpose there is to tell his story, to tell how hard he had it growing up. You know, to talk about the streets, talk about how he's, you know, in the streets and do some spine busters and pin people off spine busters and have lackluster matches. And yeah, that's it. And then the MJFs just kind of go away. And then we get Danhausen trying to get participants for Backlash Hausen. And then bro, the SmackDown, bro, it reminds me of 2019. 2019. And then we get Cody Rhodes coming out to booze because he shouldn't be the face of WWE. It should be Drew McIntyre. So then he asks Jacksonville, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about AEW because that's where, you know, that's where it all started. And then we get another redo of a segment of Cody Rhodes being almost put to sleep by Gunther. And then, bro, this is so boring because all it is just redos of what happened last week, like almost word for word, bar for bar. So then we go to Ricky with no reaction once again. Blake Monroe's coming soon. Cool. So yeah, we get 2015 nostalgia bait taken on in a promo, Fatal Influence, and then Fallon Henley botches her words and whatever. And then we get Nia Jax and Lash Legend attacking people, and then Lash Legend and Rhea Ripley face off, but we already know how that's going to end because Rhea Ripley is favored by the company. So, well, primarily Triple H. So we already know that she'd never lose. Ever. At least clean, at least. Yeah, and then we get a women's tag match, 6-woman tag or whatever. But then in these matches, since Charlotte Flair is usually the favorite and she doesn't lose in these types of matches, she doesn't really take the pin. If she does take a pin, it'll be like in a one-on-one match, but somebody has to cheat heavily. When it's just a match like one of these, is usually Alexa Bliss losing. Now, yeah, she's lost almost every single tag match. Like as far as who's going to take the pin has always been like it'll be Charlotte Flair outside the ring and Alexa Bliss taking the pin. Just like at WrestleMania, Alexa Bliss took the pin, and now in this match, JC Jane pinned Alexa Bliss. Jade Cargill and the Job Squad standing over Rhea Ripley. And then Rolls Royce car keys talking to Jimmy, and then Paige showing off her new little injury, and then yeah, Will Hobbs in WWE, like the way they handle him, he's so boring. Like there's nothing exciting. He gets no reaction. He was kept off TV, but when they kept him off TV for his debut, before his debut, they kept him off TV for months, and then they talked about how he's from the hood, how he's from the streets, how he's a black man from the streets, how he's a black man from the hood who had to make it out, how he's from the ghetto, and how many times have we heard this, bro? Oh my gosh. Like no other story direction, no other character direction, just black man hood. Okay, got it. I bet that was easy for creative to write, that's for sure. So now, yeah, he beats Tama Tonga, and then Tama Tonga and Shinsuke say some words, and now we're finally to the main event segment with Trick Williams and he's got all black on, and he's pouring out the milk or whatever is in that cup, you know, dead homie represent. And then we have this guy in the ring who looks like Kofi Kingston, but we know it's not Kofi Kingston. And then we get an AI video package because AI is all they do. It's creative storytelling, visuals. Man, I saw this AI a week ago, or like it was Zarya and Sol Ruka AI. That looked crazy in the worst way possible. So yeah, we get Sami Zayn coming out, and then he attacks Trick Williams, and then Lil Yachty comes up and he rises, and Sami Zayn gets hit with the candy cane kendo stick, and then trick shot, and then that's how the show ends, and that's it really. But it's just crazy. I'm really glad Lil Yachty's back, because Lil Yachty and Trick Williams is a perfect combination. I see a lot of comparisons between Prince Nana and Lil Yachty and Swerve and like their dynamic. But I mean, I see what they're talking about. But I just really think that I really like the fact that Lil Yachty's there, and the fact that he cares about what's going on in the company too. But I don't know, man. Like, SmackDown feels like 2019, like in the worst way possible, though, for real. Like, there's nothing worth going back on this episode, except for the main event, I guess. But yeah, I think, yeah, it's entertaining, you know. And the thing about, you know, the thing about WWE is they'll sit here and only entertain the people who don't really watch the product like that. Just go into the arenas, you know, cheer, boo, or like get drunk and cheer everyone, even the heels. You say, you deserve it. This is awesome. One more time. And then they'll say, what? You know, just the NPCs and the trained seals in the audience or whatever. Instead of the 18 to 49 demographic that is hardcore important to wrestling, TKO goes out of their way to just spite us like that. Like, it's crazy. They'll sit there and pretend like the audience outside of the arena doesn't exist. You're not supposed to do that. That's honestly kind of ass backwards. But that's the way they view it. I mean, even Nick Khan said, yeah, well, the vocal minority, you know, yeah. So if you're not paying an arm and a leg, if you're not paying a mortgage and college tuition to go to one of these shows, I mean, it was this teacher who actually she's in prison because she had like $2 million or whatever just to go to one of these just to go to a bunch of WWE shows. She risked her freedom, and now she's in prison. But yeah, that's crazy, man. But other than that, yeah, that's about it.